I want to visit with you a little bit more about trust. I did a video earlier in regards to it, and this is to add to it. Otherwise, these videos tend to get pretty long. I mean, you can go on and on and on with the things God shows you. But this has to do with trust and our health. Looking at my past, going back to even when I had some health issues, most people, the first thing they do if they have a sneeze or something like that, or maybe something a little more serious, but they run to the doctor and they put their trust in the doctors. And there's a time you have to. If you cut your arm off, you have to go and get stitched up or try to get it put back on or whatever the case may be. But the problem is when we start putting our trust in doctors, especially in the United States, where the first thing they want to do is try to put you on medication for every little thing, even things you don't have. The last time I saw a doctor was about 10 years ago for physical in the United States. And when he looked at my blood count, he said, well, your good cholesterol it's okay, but it's getting to the point where we should put you on a statin. And I was thinking, well, first of all, that's my good cholesterol. Second of all, from everything I've seen, cholesterol is not a problem to begin with. We have to have cholesterol. And third of all, it's not high. So why would I go on a medication? And he was persistent. He was like, I can't believe you're 45 years old and you don't take any medications. We got to find something wrong with you, is the way he was acting. And that's the problem, is you're putting your trust in someone that, whether they're doing it because of financial gain or they're doing it because they really believe in the system's just plain wrong. Fast forward a little bit, my wife went through some of the same issues, not what I did, but she was having some health issues because she's living in the U.S. in San Diego at the time. And the doctors told her that by the time she was, I don't know what age, 40 years old or something like that, she wouldn't walk anymore. And they were trying to put her on all these medications. And she came back here to Baja, Mexico, and saw some naturalist doctors, and they started giving her something completely different, different vitamins and supplements and teas and stuff to drink. And at 45 years old, she's in perfect health because she did it naturally, the way God expects us to. I've made the point before, we adopted the two girls that were 3 and 1 at the time when we got them, and they had lung issues, bronchitis type things, and their lungs would fill up with, I guess, snot or whatever, where they couldn't breathe very well. And actually, the older one, there's a couple times, according to the medical records, that she was close to death. So the first thing we did, I prayed to God, what do you want us to do? He said, take them off the medicine. So that's the very first thing we did. And there was some people that said, well, that's the worst thing you can do. I mean, they're going to have major issues just because of coming off the medication. But they responded perfectly. And at first, for about a month or so, the older one was waking up every morning coughing, but she was even on the medication. And there was, some minor issues here and there, but she was having worse issues on the medication. The point is that you put your faith in the doctors and you're taking this medication and you're still having problems. My dad always put his faith in the doctors and got his flu shot, and he always had the flu. It makes no sense. To me, the modern medicine is out to try to destroy us, to the point of probably not trying to kill us necessarily, but trying to get us to that point of barely keeping you alive so they can take all your money. And yeah, that sounds a little bit conspiracy or whatever, but it's the way I see it. I don't see it any other way. I mean, to me, it's ridiculous, the things that they're putting in our bodies or trying to, with vaccines, with flu shots, with just prescriptions and everything, and seeing the results that come from it. I made the point before when I was watching my daughter on The Bachelor, because I never watched TV, but I was watching it through a U.S. station, and almost every single commercial was about drugs. medications. And it was funny because the first 2-3 seconds were, okay, this drug is for this, and then the next 20 seconds was tell them about all of the side effects and the potential problems you have from taking it. And it's like, wow, and people really take it, and they ask for it. I don't get it. But it goes back to the trust. Who are you putting your trust in? You putting your trust in the modern medicine, or you putting your trust in God? I have my trust in God. I have no fear of this virus. I'm pretty sure we already had it way back in January. But if we didn't, and I did get it, I know for a fact I would get over it quick, a day or two, a week maybe, and it would make my system stronger. God never promised us that we would bypass sickness and problems and stuff. He just said that he would overcome in us, or we will overcome in him, if we're in him. And so, like everything else in this world, the problems that we face are what gets us to overcome. When we face health issues, and we deal with them according to the way of God by eating correctly and taking care of ourselves and getting the rest we need and the exercise we need, and etc. Those viruses and flus and things only do to build up our immune system to make us stronger for the next attack. And it's the same in the spiritual world or the physical world, where problems come, and if you deal with them in the correct way with God, they make you stronger. Different people that I've seen die, normal people that are sad and crying and, distraught. The last funeral I went to was a man that died from a brain aneurysm. And he was pretty young. He's only 40, 41, something like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching people crying hysterically. And, it's sad. He was a good guy. I liked him. But instead of crying and carrying on and, I was at peace because there's nothing I can do about it. Crying isn't going to help. It was a Catholic type wake, and they were doing their prayers and stuff. And I could hear Satan laughing all the way. Like, these foolish people. And that's what happens when you put your trust in God. You start seeing things into the spiritual world, and you start seeing truth that you don't see otherwise, so that you can do things the right way and come to an understanding that it's not about religion that's going to save you. When the funeral's there and the person's dead, your prayers aren't going to do anything. They don't do a thing. It's too late. That person's either in heaven or he's not. But when you trust in God, and if that person trusted in God, then you know where they are. As always, seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness and its truth, because Jesus is the truth. And then everything else will be given to you. Peace.